Okay, we're back, Mark. The New York Knicks defeat the Miami Heat tonight in a fairly ugly game that was 111 to 105 at Madison Square Garden. It was enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but it did feel like an incomplete game on some level because we did not have Jimmy Butler in this game. And frankly, Julius Randle had moments where he looked phenomenal, and you look at the final stat line, he goes for 25 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists. I think he certainly played well, but he does look a bit tentative on the ankle as well, it feels like to me. And I'm going to be really interested to see how he pulls up from that coming into game 3 of the series in Miami. What were your overall impressions of this game as you watched it unfold?
Yeah, I like you mentioned, I think just adding Julius brings that other factor for the Knicks offense. I think a couple things. I've been a little bit bothered by how much, or bothered maybe is a little bit too strong, but like the Knicks are really struggling to get into the paint on a team that I don't think they should be struggling into the paint as much as they are. And Miami's getting into the paint way easier than they should be. Like Kyle Lowry was, even if like again like his box score wasn't anything crazy, but I thought he had, especially in the second half, he had some really great stuff getting into the paint, and it was on contested drives. Like he blew by Quentin Grimes a couple times, who, to be fair, came off injury, has not completely looked right on either end of the court, and I'm hoping that he can get right because the Knicks need him to be. But especially with like it's not like the Heat are generating tons and tons of rim pressure, but it's enough to get them going and get to their shots the way that they need. So I think, to me, the way I looked at this game was very much I feel good that I won if I'm the Knicks, but also, boy, we need to clean up some things before Jimmy Butler comes back, because I think that obviously it's not always 1-to-1, but even if you have some good things to take away from in this game, I think that there are some things that are going to need to be cleaned up moving forward that were present in game 1 as well.
Yeah, big news. The good news for the Knicks in this game, I thought, was that they made 40% of their threes. They went 16 of 40 from 3. Jalen Brunson got back, going again, which was really, really important after game 1. He goes for 30 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists on 10 of 19 from the field, 6 of 10 from 3. Was a really, really terrific player tonight, especially in the second half for the New York Knicks. We're going to talk a little bit about RJ Barrett. He goes for 24 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists in this game as well. He was the only negative player in the starting lineup for the New York Knicks, which, as always, is very intriguing to look at in terms of what the plus minus is during games like this. But I saw nothing in this game that makes me think the Heat aren't the favorite moving forward. They have home court advantage now. They're probably going to get Jimmy Butler back, we would think. I can't imagine that Jimmy Butler
Can I give you my reason for why the Heat aren't the favorite?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that I think I would still pick the Knicks to win this series. It's Bam, man. Like, I think Bam's defense was awesome tonight. I'm not going to take that away. Like, I thought, in terms of somebody, like I tweeted this out, like just a masterclass in sticking in front of people. Like, he is so good at not biting on pump fakes. The way, like, I thought that the Knicks did a much better job of trying to not drag Bam into actions in the second half, and that helped open things up for Jalen Brunson. But part of Brunson's struggles in the first half were like, yeah, we're getting Bam involved in actions, and that was confusing to watch. And believe it or not, Jalen Brunson really struggles to drive and score on Bam Adebayo. I mean, he went 1 of 6 in the first half, was really struggling to create separation. Part of that was their guards too. But I thought Bam was awesome. But, I mean, his offense in the playoffs has just been really disappointing to watch. Like, again, that's not to put it completely on him and make it completely his onus, but especially with how much I mean, Mitch Robb was in foul trouble most of the game tonight. I think he picked up his second foul like 3 or 4 minutes into the game. Ends up just only playing 20 minutes tonight. And not like Hartenstein's a bad defender, but for what Bam can do, I do think, like, it's just frustrating. Like I think that there are like it always comes back to the same things, and it's not the exact same, but it's a lot of the same stuff as like with looking at Miles Turner and the Pacers. Like you got to create your own offense at some point. This is not a we need to draw up plays for you. This is okay. You're running handoffs. You're running delay sets. You are controlling the ball. You are doing things with the ball, and yes, you're creating shots for teammates, but also you're the best player on your team right now. Like
Yes.
they need you to go create shots, even if it's not like something perfect. I think him getting into the lane or trying to draw fouls or doing anything, getting downhill with where they're at right now would be monumental for what they need. I mean, they took 49 threes tonight, and it felt like they needed every one of them. And I don't know, like I'm not trying to hit him too hard with this, but it's been a thing the entire playoffs. And I think if I'm going to feel that the Heat can win the series, I think that they need a lot more from Bam offensively than taking 10 field goal attempts in a game, because he's capable of a lot more.
The scary thing is I don't think they need more. If Jimmy Butler is playing, I don't. Like, I think that we got a Jalen Brunson explosion tonight in part because the adjustment that the Heat made in game one was not on the table. They switched Jimmy Butler onto Jalen Brunson in game one in the second half, and Jalen had a miserable time with it, right? It made it a little bit harder for the Heat in this game, not having Jimmy Butler to field high-level defensive lineups consistently, high-level two-way lineups consistently, let's go with. Like, they had to play Haywood Highsmith 15 minutes in this game. Haywood Highsmith's actually like a really good defender. It's just that you have to really manufacture anything to make him viable on offense in any way. Caleb Martin plays 38 minutes tonight.
He was good too, I thought.
And he was good. Yeah. But Duncan Robinson plays 21 minutes tonight, right? You replace 40 of those minutes with Jimmy Butler, right? Like that's a substantial upgrade both on offense and on defense, even with Caleb Martin being as good as he is on defense. Part of this is that I just really trust Erik Spoelstra. I'm like fully in the fucking bag for Erik Spoelstra at this point. Yeah. Some of the things he did in this game, and I feel like we're giving the Knicks the short end of the stick here, and I apologize for that. But like some of the things Erik Spoelstra did in this game, let's just like pull up the clips to be able to talk about it. I just pulled like 4 or 5, just basically ATOs or sets that the Heat ran to be able to create different opportunities throughout the course of this game. And this one here is really fun. So you're going to see Duncan Robinson cross through the entire set here. You're going to see Cody Zeller just like kind of act like he's going to set a super high ball screen, but not really. And then what this does is throughout the entirety of this set, because you have your man on the weak side here, I can't tell who that is. That might be Haywood Highsmith, just essentially blocking off Quentin Grimes here as a screener. If Gabe Vincent turns the corner on Emmanuel quickly, it's over. And then you're essentially in a 1-on-2 where that's actually Haywood Highsmith in the corner. I can't quite tell who that is. That might be Kyle Lowry setting that screen.
It's Lowry setting screen, yeah.
Yeah. You're basically putting Obi Toppin in an impossible situation here. You're stressing Gabe Vincent to turn the corner if you're Erik Spoelstra here. And this is just fantastic, right? Like this set puts Obi Toppin in an impossible spot. Highsmith gets the open 3, bam. It's just money. This is a beautiful ATO here, right? You're going to see again, they're going to develop something for Haywood Highsmith again. Going to kind of get this ball here into Bam. He's going to set this screen for Duncan. And you assume, because Bam Adebayo and Duncan Robinson throughout the course of their careers have had just immaculate synergy and dribble handoff settings, even down in the corners or on the wings. You're going to see here, it's going to come back and you're expecting just this little screen here for Bam to be able to flip it to Duncan and be able to make a 3. And the Knicks know that that's coming, right? The Knicks see that coming, which is why Obi Toppin flies toward Duncan. I guarantee that's on the scouting report because that's what Duncan Robinson does, right? This is Erik Spoelstra playing off of the scouting report here, countering what the Knicks are trying to do. Just creates a wide open driving lane for Haywood Highsmith. get the contest there from Quentin Grimes. Really good rotation from Quentin Grimes, deserves credit there. But because he had to come off Kyle Lowry ends up getting this easy bucket. Here's another one that's really fun. And you're going to see two back-to-back really fun things here. So a lot of what the Heat tend to do on the backside is they'll try and maybe run like a flex cut toward the basket off of like Kevin Love coming down, or they'll have Kevin Love come down instead of pin down. But what you're going to see here is that Jalen Brunson comes up and he's just like top locking Max Strus. He's stopping Max Strus from being able to take that little pin down action and come across or come over the top of it and get this open 3-point opportunity. So instead, what Max Strus does really intelligently, he just goes down, instead of flex cutting, he just sets a screen on Kevin Love's man. Wide open three for Kevin Love. This is a counter to exactly what the Knicks are doing to defend. And what you're going to see here on this next possession, which occurred, that last one was the last possession, I believe, that was the last possession basically of the second half or the second quarter. This is going to be at the 9:40 mark of the third quarter. Jalen Brunson no longer top locking Max Strus on these backside exchange actions. And you're going to see here, Bam Adebayo, he's going to be able to get into that handoff set for Max Strus. Here's the thing. In these situations, the Knicks are very clearly being told, you have to get out onto the shooter, which is what Mitchell Robinson does. Bam just keeps it in this circumstance, gets down, drives the lane. I think that there is so much more room throughout the course of the rest of this series for Bam Adebayo to specifically play the keepers on dribble handoffs because of the way that Mitchell Robinson is going to be forced to play him throughout the course of this series, right? Because of the way that Mitchell Robinson is playing shooters, because of the way the Knicks are playing shooters. I think there is so much that Bam can do off of these actions, particularly in order to take advantage of the Knicks defense here. Just really manufactured a lot of shit. And I think that once you get Jimmy Butler back, it becomes even easier to manufacture stuff because of the amount of attention that Jimmy Butler will end up getting from the opposing team. It's hard for me to believe, given the way that the Heat have been able to manufacture offense throughout this series, both with and without Jimmy Butler. I think it's been much easier for them at this point. And additionally, I think that their defensive scheme in terms of being able to pack the paint, I don't trust the Knicks shooters. Do you trust the Knicks shooters? That's kind of what it comes down to, right?
I think I do. And like, it's not even about the, like, that's a good point. I think it's less about the shooting to me and more just scoring overall. Like, I think the biggest disappointment for the Knicks in the playoffs, and to be fair, like, he's still been very good defensively. He's done a lot of really important stuff with moving the ball and getting offense going, but they need Emmanuel Quickley to be the scorer that he was throughout the season. I think that that's the biggest difference maker moving forward, because their bench units just haven't hit the same with him not being that level of scorer.
Yes. Well, and if he's not that guy, they don't have the ability to adjust and go smaller, right? Yeah. Like, lineups that they've loved to run throughout the course of this year, they love to have these Jalen and Quickley lineups out there with two wings and, Julius Randle, or two wings and Mitchell Robinson, but it's typically Julius. If you don't have that adjustment in the bag because Emmanuel isn't playing quite as well as you need him to, you're then looking at something like when you want to go to those small lineups, it's, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, RJ Barrett, and Quentin Grimes. Quentin Grimes has this shoulder injury right now that, I think kind of has him a little bit tentative as a shooter. RJ Barrett's knocking down threes, as we're going to talk about. That's a really big factor here. And then Josh Hart went 2 for 4 from 3 tonight, but Josh is not the most confident shooter from time to time. So it's harder.
He took 3 of those threes in the last 5 minutes of the game, and he had so many opportunities that he passed up to. So exactly, like, it's very fake 4 threes.
Yeah. So to me, schematically, I still think Miami has the advantage in this series based off of what I've seen. but the Jimmy Butler injury factor is a real thing. I think getting Julius Randle back in this game was enormous in terms of the rebounding battle. A big part of the Knicks' success in the Cavs series was being able to just absolutely hammer the Cavs on the defensive glass or on the offensive glass. In this series, it's a little bit harder because the Heat are a top 5 defensive rebounding team in the NBA. But if you have both Randall and Robinson attacking the offensive glass constantly, I think that they are much bigger than the guys on the Heat, and you can do as well as you want to boxing out. If you have guys that are just going to be able to move you like big adults, like Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle and Isaiah Hartenstein tonight, he had 4 offensive rebounds. I think that there is a chance that they can get those extra possessions and make it a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about RJ Barrett, though. What have you enjoyed about RJ Barrett in this playoff run, Mark? Because I have loved to see it.
Yeah, everything. I think like you kind of mentioned with the plus minus, I think part of that was they wanted to get him rest, and they ended up playing him with the bench unit a lot, and the bench unit, as we mentioned, has kind of struggled. So I don't take too much away from it. Not that you were saying that there's much to take away from it, but he was really like their only source of offense that was consistent in the first half. And part of what's been awesome about watching him play in the playoffs is he's just letting the game come to him. Like, so much of what has been the RJ Barrett problem for me, problem's probably too harsh, but like just the issues with him has been like, you see the complete intrigue and allure of everything he can do, but it just feels like everything is forced. Everything feels stiff. And the jumper has really came and went. And luckily it has been here in the playoffs, and he has been willing to uncork and let it go. Finished with 9 attempts tonight, hit 5 of them. The biggest thing though has been, I think, the decision making and overall like feel for what to do, and the flow of the offense has been perfect. Like, it's not anything like groundbreaking. It's just, okay, I'm big, I'm strong, I can get to the rim. I'm going to move the ball when I draw to. I'm going to make a proactive play as I see it unfold instead of forcing something. He's been good at hitting cutters on the baseline. He's been good at hitting guys in the dunker spot. And that stuff, like, it's simple stuff, but it's stuff that he really struggled with at times this year. Like, there were times where he didn't even look at the dunker spot, or he didn't even look to make corner kickouts. And like, he's such a good driver and somebody who's strong enough to really just put his shoulder down and get in the lane, that if he's just making the simple passes and with timeliness, that's perfect for him. And I think you put that in with, he has kind of figured out how to slow down a little bit. And like, he's been really good with deceleration in the playoffs. I felt like there's been so much stuff with him where, he's getting offensive fouls because he's a little bit out of control on drives, or, he just isn't quite on balance. And I think, at least in the playoffs, it really felt like he's kind of had that down pat with, how to be in control in the lane. And like, there were some imperfect moments early on in the Cavs series with him on post-ups, but I think he's done some better stuff of being quick with his post-ups, because I think when he is doing back downs and trying to get into his post-fade game, that's where I feel less confident in his post-up game. But when he is catching, getting into a jab series and ripping quick, like, I think that's where he's really good. And I think we've seen him do a lot more of that. I want to see him do that. Like, he did some of that in game 1 and it looked good. It wasn't really as much of that tonight. I think there can be more of that moving forward, but it's just been a lot of putting everything together a little bit. And it's been very fun to watch. And the defense has been good too.
Yeah. I think the defense has been really good. I think that's really important. I think throughout the, especially the middle portion and later portion of this year, it felt like his defense, particularly off the ball, was messy. Let's go with inattentiveness was there, and lack of awareness and reactivity was there, and it was a little bit frustrating. But one thing that Mark Jones mentioned in, I think it was game 4 of the Cavs series, maybe, was that between game 3 or maybe it was game 5, somewhere after game 2 of that series, Mark Jones said that RJ Barrett really got in the gym and actually adjusted the shooting pocket on his jumper a little bit to the left. So let's kind of dive in because I went and found a shot from very late in this season. I think it was like their 80th game of the year against Orlando, where we're going to see here that RJ Barrett is going to take this kick out kind of in the corner, and you're going to see the shooting pocket is like kind of straight above his head. It feels like there. I do think there is a little bit of also, if you look at the way he's loading as well, it feels like his gather is very twisted, like toward his right a little bit. And it is a little bit interesting to see because when that happens, you can have a little bit too much offhand interaction. You can have a number of different things. Your elbow can be out of alignment. There are a lot of different things that can happen. So this is going to be a missed shot here. Orlando is going to get the rebound, etc. Right? So let's take a look at tonight. So this is a pretty good look at it. Basically the same spot. And what I think I'm seeing here at the very least, I don't know about you, Mark, is you're going to see him catch. It feels like he's bringing the ball up more from the left side of his body. And it is helping him keep his elbow in alignment a little bit more underneath the ball. I'll run that again for you. Are you kind of seeing the same thing?
Yeah, it's a much more clean, straight up and down motion instead of something going, like 45 degrees across, which I think has been an issue for him. And I think you saw that in all the shots tonight. It's all just like going straight up with it. I really like you pointing that out.
Yeah, it just feels a little bit smoother to me in terms of the shot, which is important. And the shot comes at 10:30 of the first quarter. We're going to get just an RJ explosion here coming down. This is going to be, I believe, another three from RJ on a double team kick out from Julius Randle here. The thing I really love about this play, this is the kind of shit where it's just like Josh Hart, fucking beautiful, man. I love Josh Hart so much. Josh Hart recognizes what's happening here. RJ's man has sunk in, and Josh's own man, I believe, is the player that went to double on Randall here. Or no. It was Bam. It was Mitchell's man. And because of that, Kevin Love has to kind of like sink in a little bit, be prepared. And then look at Josh Hart. Josh Hart is going to cut here, which is going to open up the entire thing because he cuts. RJ's man has to tag him as a cutter, and it's going to open up the entire right side of the court for RJ. It's a really, really smart play by Josh Hart there. And again, I think body looks in so much more alignment here in terms of the shot. Like, I really think that I think that there could be something to this in terms of him being a bit of a better shooter right now. This is just really important. I think the Knicks, in circumstances like this, where they have the Miami Heat defense bent in some way, their players taking these kickouts or taking these reversals need to be willing to attack that gap. They have to be willing to do it aggressively and confidently. I know you're driving into Bam Adebayo. This is perfect. This is a beautiful little floater by RJ Barrett. Makes it. But you have to be aggressive here. You have to be willing to attack those gaps because those gaps are not presenting themselves that often in this series because of the way Miami is sagging and helping off of guys. So here, again, this is just a corner kick out. The ball is just going to get to RJ Barrett. And again, you're going to see things look so much more just aligned and simple. The shooting pocket does look a little bit moved over to the left. I think Mark Jones was on it, man. I think this is absolutely true. And then you're going to see here, this is a kick out. And I just love the strides. This is always the thing that RJ has been able to do and where I thought he was going to find his most success in the NBA. These strides, this stride length, these powerful strides, that's him turning the corner on Haywood Highsmith. Again, like a pretty good defender. He just gets around him. I think it was absolutely terrific. Like this is the kind of stuff that I'm sure that I can see a world where you were not quite as high on RJ coming into the draft, right?
I was like, I didn't know. That was like pre me having really a great understanding. I really liked RJ because I watched that Duke team a lot that year.
Yeah.
And I liked RJ a lot. I didn't really know what to make of him. He's somebody I've always just been really interested in and felt could be a really fun player.
I agree. No, and it's that power. It's that blend of power that he has. He's always needed the jumper. I hope that this is a fix long term for the jumper. To me, that's going to be the thing. If this is a fix long term for the jumper, he has something here. Again, here you go. It's just an easy kick out for RJ. Made shot. Again, this is going to be, I believe, just another reversal up to the top. He's just taking them confidently. Like, when was the last time you saw RJ Barrett take threes like this in rhythm as confidently as he is?
I'll get back to you when I have a date.
But it's been a while, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely been a while. So it's really good to see this. And then here we go. RJ just going to kind of reverse, and he's going to spin. He's going to work his way in the lane, and he's going to finish. This is the power again. This is what he's got. Connor Andrews in the YouTube comments brings up those Leonard Miller long steps by RJ. It's those long strides that Leonard's got. I love it, man. I absolutely love it. But that's it, right? That's what this is. This is that RJ Barrett looks a lot more comfortable and confident, and I think he's feeding off of the jumper now in a substantial way. He feels more confident in the jumper. And when that jumper goes, I think the Knicks are a different team. And I think he's a different player, which allows him to stay on the court and be a really valuable player. Because look, there were times throughout the course of the season I wondered, are the Knicks sometimes better without him late in games, especially when Emmanuel Quickley is rolling, right? Like, if you can play Brunson, Quickley, Hart, and Grimes together with Julius Randle, or you play two bigs with three of those guys, that can sometimes leave out RJ. And Emmanuel Quickley was amazing throughout the course of the regular season, but without him being as good as he is, the Knicks have desperately needed RJ. And seeing him take this leap over the course of realistically the last 5 games, I would say, is really important for the Knicks, both now and moving forward.
Yeah, no, 100%, man.